Hi everyone, Tasha with Start a School Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to do these cute granny squares that are super easy to make, and what's great about these is that you don't have to weave in that many tails, just 1 or 2 tails and you're done. I've avoided granny squares for the longest time because I really don't like those tails, and also they just take a long time, but this way you're going to love it because it will teach you how to crochet a granny square without doing all the tails. So let's get started. You're going to need a hook, scissors for sure, and a needle to weave in your tails. I'm going to start off with my 4.5mm hook, and I have 3 colors. I'm using Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton, which is a great cotton to use, and I just love the way that they feel. So we're going to work up a square that looks just like this one. So the first color we're going to use is yellow. So let's grab our yellow. And I work a magic circle, but you can also chain 3 and work into the first chain, but I prefer the magic circle. So how to do a magic circle is I wrap my yarn around my fingers twice, then I insert my hook like this, pull it up and twist it, then I kind of pinch it like that, grab the yarn off my ball and do a chain. So for this granny square, you're going to chain 3 to start, and that'll be considered your first double crochet of the stitch. Then yarn over and do a double crochet and do 1 more double crochet, so you'll have 2 double crochets and a chain for your first stitch. Next we're going to do 2 chains, 1, 2, and then work 3 double crochets and a chain 2 3 more times. So you'll have a total of 4 sets of 3 double crochets with chain 2s in between each one. And sometimes this circle can get a little bit loose, so you might have to just occasionally pull it a little bit tight so you can get a better grasp on your fingers. So do that. 3 double crochets and a chain 2 in between each one. This is what I have so far. So that's my first set, second set, third set, and fourth set. Now I'm going to pull it tight. If you're using the chain method, what you want to do is take your needle, thread it onto your tail, and then weave it around and pull it tight just like you would the magic circle. So I'm coming up on the end of my first round. What you're going to do here is insert your hook into the first double crochet, not the chain, but the double crochet. Do a slip stitch through, and then I'm going to slip stitch again into the chain 2 space. Then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to come down here and cut my yarn, and then I'm going to pull it out like that. We're going to start off our next row in this chain 2 space. So I'm going to grab my yarn, and you want to leave kind of a long tail for this part. I'm going to put my hook through the front side, put my yarn on my hook, and pull it through to the right of the knot that you created. With both strands, you're going to work your first stitch with both strands, your first chain 1, and then I'm going to chain 1 more with both strands. You're going to drop the tail and then do your last chain of the chain 3 with just 1 strand. Now grab both of your strands of yarn and start working around them and do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Chain 2 and work 3 more double crochets. That's what we have so far, and you can see you worked straight over that little knot. You can't even see it. And you have these 2 tails right here. I'm just going to pull those a little bit tight, and now you can just cut these tails. You don't have to weave them in, you can just cut them. So grab your scissors, get as close as you can without actually cutting the other stitch, and just snip it off like that. I saved my tails, so if you want to save your tails to use for stuffing for an amigurumi animal, it's really great. Now we're going to go ahead and work 3 double crochets. We're not going to chain between them. Just work 3 double crochets in the next chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3, chain 2 because we're cornering out, and work 3 more double crochets into the chain 2 space. Finish out your round, and then we'll start on round 3. Once you finish your round 2, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did for the first round, and we're going to join into that first double crochet, not the chain. Like that. Then work into the next double crochet with a slip stitch, and once again into the chain 2 space. Then chain 1, flip your work, and go ahead and cut this tail and just pull it through, and we're going to start with our third color. Insert your hook into the chain 2 space, leave quite a long tail, pull it through, and with both strands you're going to work 1, 2 chains, drop the tail, and work 1 more chain. And you can smush it over to the side a little bit to make sure it gets on the right side of the knot, so that these 2 little strands don't have a gap in between them, which some of them might have a gap. You can, so one thing I don't like about this method, but if you want to do another method, you can always just tie it on and tie a knot. So this is kind of like 2 methods in one. So I'll show you the other method. If you want, instead of working it with the slip stitches, you can just bring this through and tie a double knot. I find that to be a little more time consuming, but I'll show you this method because there's 2 different ways you can do it without weaving in a lot of tails. So there you have your other knot, and now you can just go ahead and work your chains by putting your hook through the chain 2 space, grabbing that yarn up, and chaining 1, 2, 3, and then work around both the tails right there. 1, 2 more, and then chain 2 and work 3 more double crochets into the same space, and make sure you're working around the tails. Now we drop the tails, and now we do 3 double crochets into the center space, and then work 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and 3 double crochets in the corner. So that's 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, work 3 double crochets into the space, three double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in the corner. Three double crochets into the space, three double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets into the corner. Now when we come to the end and we're going to finish out, we're going to go into that second stitch, the double crochet, and do a slip stitch, then slip stitch over into the next double crochet and into the chain space, chain one, cut it, and bring it through. Now we're going to work our very last round. So I'm going to grab my border color, which is, I'm using an off-white, and I'm going to show you the other way, the one that I prefer better, because I just like it better. So I'm going to chain two with both strands of yarn, drop my tail, and then make one chain, and then work my 3 double crochets and work around the 2 tails that I have in the back. Chain 2, drop the tails, and then start working into the spaces and all around. Once you reach the end, we're going to skip over the chain 3 and work straight into that double crochet with a slip stitch. And then at this point, there's a few things you can do. What I've been doing is slip stitching over one and then pulling through, cutting the yarn, pulling through, and then kind of weaving it back through using my hook temporarily, and then when I finally join the squares together or do all my weaving in, I'll weave in the tail with my needle. So when you join the squares, you're going to join them together using either a single crochet. You can use different kinds of joins to join the squares. It's up to you, but there's how to do it. You have a few tails on the back, so we're going to go ahead and pull these tight. And then just like we did for the other rounds, we're going to kind of come close to it and just snip off those tails like that, and just pull them back, and they kind of disappear into the work, which is great. And so you can weave in this tail and then this tail. So you have 2 tails to weave in, or you can just snip that tail off, but I don't trust that. I want to weave it in, so I've been weaving in both my tails. But this is a great method to use to create a little granny square. We're not having to weave in a lot of tails because I really don't like the tails. I hope this helped you, and if you like this tutorial, please subscribe, hit the little bell button to get notified of all my future video tutorials. If you want to see the pattern that I'm making with this, make sure to check my YouTube channel. I have created so many fun granny squares. Ta-da! Granny square madness. Alright guys, happy crocheting. Bye!